In our previous Terraforming Mars playthrough, we showed you the Terraforming Rush strategy. Now, we're going to look at the second major approach to winning, which is to build an engine and draw out the game. I'll be talking strategy with a skilled Danish player, Boneless, to look at his decisions in this game and to show you how he got such an incredibly high score. This is Legendary Tactics. All right, we're here today with Boneless for a huge game. This one, you are showing us how to maximize your engine. So tell me about your corporation choice here, your prelude cards, and your opening card choice.
Yeah, I'm for sure going for Luna because this is a two-player game. The other corporation weren't that good. And then I had one prelude with an Earth tag, so I'm picking that one. And then all I'm thinking about now is just get the most card draw, the most engine as humanly possible.
Okay.
So yeah, Omni Contractor, IO Research Project. So right off the bat, this game is going to be, first of all, insane. And it's also going to be really fast-paced because I already cropped this down to 1 hour. I think I kind of had to because otherwise this video would be far too long. So
Perfect. So in 60 minutes or less, you're going to get a crazy amount of content in here.
Yeah. So,
I love it. So Point Luna, let's start with that. What's your focus there? That's on titanium, is it?
Well, yeah, I get one titanium production, but mainly the strength of this corporation is I get to draw a card every time I play an Earth tag. And this is like one of the best corporations in two-player games. It's always a good corporation, but especially in two-player games, you're like inclined to go for these long, greedy strategies with like a lot of card draw.
Right.
So if you're having a lot of card draw, then obviously you'll see more Earth tag, which means that the Lunar Corporation is just gonna do more for you. So it's a very good corporation for this game, and also had a starting hand with some prelude and some cards with like Earth tag. So it was a no-brainer for sure. I'm gonna go for this.
You got orbital construction for your prelude, right? And that also was to do with titanium.
I think so. I think I had a one with titanium, and then I had this Omni Contractor, which had an Earth tag and 3 points or something. So yeah.
Right. No. Okay. Now, in terms of the initial card choice, out of the 10, how many do you usually take in a big game like this, where you're going for a long game?
Well, pretty much I just want the biggest engine possible. So I take all the megacredit, all the steel production, all the titanium production, all the discount cards, all the card draw. All of this is stuff I'm looking at, and of course I'm more inclined to go for Earth tags because I have this corporation. So I believe I got one of the Earth tag cards that also draws me a card. So there was a lot of good things in the starting hand. And obviously, if you're gonna get a big score like this, you need to be very lucky. And this is for sure a very lucky game on my part.
Well, it's partly luck, but it's also partly creating luck for yourself too. We talked about this with Wingspan, where you can't get a score like this purely based on. I mean, I would never get this score, no matter how lucky I am, because I just don't have the skill with the synergies yet.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But I picked up some really nice cards here. So there's an interesting choice here. I'm choosing Space Station. And then I am, what's my point with this? Because I remember there was a choice between playing IO Mining Industries or just playing the Earth Catapult. I think I went for the Earth Catapult before. Yeah, I did, because now I have 2 discounted all cards. It was like a really tough choice because sometimes it's actually better to play IO Mining Industries and then just do that this generation. Then the next generation you can start playing Earth Catapult and just get a lot of discount going. But in this case, I had some other cards. I believe I had like one more titanium production, a few cheap cards, so I think I did it like this.
Nice.
Hackers is a questionable card, but I think in the two-player game it's a little bit better, and also this is still early enough that it's okay. You're looking at
the Miranda Resort there.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is like the best top deck I could have had. It's like perfect.
Nice.
So
that's to increase your. Wow, you're up to 9.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it gave me 6 or something crazy because I just had so many Earth tags in my early game. So it's very lucky. So this goes back to the fact that I didn't play IO Mining Industries. Now it ended up being like a lot better because now I actually played some Earth tags and that picked up Miranda Resort and stuff like this. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So sometimes the sequence in the order is really governs what you're going to choose next based on.
Yeah, it is for sure. So right here, Rover Construction, I kind of want to keep this card, but the thing is, I want to play Iron Mining Industry, so if you do the math, it's going to add up to 38, and the Iron Mining Industry is going to cost 37, so I can't actually buy this card. I just looked at Rover Construction.
Oh, okay.
So this is just my generation. I just spend my generation playing this Iron Mining Industries, and that's fine.
Wow, and this is early to be looking at milestones, is it not?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't think I would be picking them up yet, but I can still like plan ahead which one am I actually gonna go for, because already now I know that I have a dream game.
Yeah.
So I don't wanna give him too many points. I'm feeling all right. I'm just gonna crush this guy. It should be fine. But it's funny you mentioned like order of which cards to play and stuff like this. So I also have in my hand, I believe, this card. What's it called? Mars University. And you might be thinking this is a perfect card to play in the early game because it can allow me to rotate card. But the thing is, I haven't started playing my science tags yet, so I'm actually waiting to play this card until I plan on playing more science tags.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, you're right. There's a lot of different. The order of which you play cards are really important, for sure.
Yeah, your income here is awesome.
Yeah, I just picked up another Earth Tag Gold Amplifier. What was it, Cartel or something? So yeah, it's a dream game, man.
It really is. Yeah. I dream of having that kind of production. One thing I struggle with is I always feel like I'm short on the mega credit income. So am I doing something wrong, or am I just not getting the right cards, or what are you doing to get up to 11 here, I guess is my question.
First of all, being lucky. Second of all, there is a little bit of optimization you can do. You can like not keep as many of the cards that are not useful for you, but this is like it's hard to. You have to look at a game and like have to pinpoint what's actually the thing I want to do with my cards. So it's I would say, without hurting your feelings, it's probably a little bit of both. But mostly, of course, the only reason I can get this insane engine 5 titanium and 11 mega credit production at this point, that's because I'm lucky, obviously.
Now,
lucky.
What would be the lowest income you would see yourself running the game with? Like, do you ever run with like 2 or 0 or?
Sometimes you do it just out of like, because you literally have nothing. Sometimes you just have a dead hand. But even then, if you're like playing with colonies, you can like compensate for this. But when we're playing on the Mars app here, we don't have colonies.
Right.
So I think a thing that I would really do in every game, I would really try to at least get 10 money income. That could be like mega credits or 10 more terraform rating or something. So you at least have 30 gold to start the generation with, rather than only the 20 you have like to begin with. You kind of need to get out of this hole in the early game. You really need to climb out of there, because otherwise it's gonna be really hard to play the game.
Absolutely. It's cool how you can generate income in different ways though in this game. I love that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, especially if you have more expansions. If you have colonies, there's like even more different choices you have to make with the colonies. So yeah. Oh,
there's that imported GHG. We talked about that in the shorter game coverage.
Yeah. The funny thing is, now I'm keeping it for an entirely different reason. First of all, I'm just keeping 4 cards here because I have a dream game and I have this what's it called, Martian University. So just by keeping 4 cards, I have more bad cards in my hand, just so I can rotate those with Mars University. But the reason this card you just mentioned is also really good right now is because it has a nerf tag and it's already really cheap. So it would also draw me a card with my corporation point Luna. So yeah, it's really good now, but for entirely different reasons than the last game, which is kind of funny.
Now, when you buy milestones early like that, do you sort of tip your hand to your opponent of what your strategy is going to be, or would you ever want to hold on and not reveal what you're planning?
I don't think it says so much about your strategy. If they want to look at your strategy, they just like look at your game, look at what you're doing, how much plant and heat production do you have. Would you just scroll through the milestone, you can see what people have anyway.
Right.
So by actually buying it, I don't give that much away, I don't think. But the thing is, buying them too early could be a problem in these long, greedy 2-player games. But right now we are in generation 6, so I think I'm already bought the one with 16 cards. I think that was also because now I'm down to 15 cards, so I just wanted to buy that while I actually had the cards to do so.
Right.
And the other milestones, I believe I'm gonna check them out sooner or later, but I don't think there's one he's close to yet. So even though I can actually buy a milestone right now, I would imagine I probably have the builder or close to the builder at this point. But even though I have that, I'm not even gonna buy it until I have to, until he's close to buying one.
Right.
So
okay.
yeah, that's a lot of. It's a little bit more efficient this way. Yeah.
Right, just to use your income like actively on the board as opposed to in something that's just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's 8 megacredits you could spend on engine instead of spending it on on basically nothing when it comes to engine. It will make no difference if you pick up the milestone now or in the next generation. So if you can get away with it, this is the way to go.
Does this game ever have a problem with people like looking at your engine and saying, "Oh my gosh, this guy is just crushing me," and like I've got to sit here for another hour playing against like what's going to be certain doom? Is there a big attrition rate of people dropping out of games, or?
I think when you play on the app here, for example, it's not that bad because it's the game is gonna be over rather quickly. But in real life, if you it happens sometimes that you're all right. This is lost, and you just have to like wait for a long time before people actually finish. But it's funny you should mention it because in this game in particular, at this point I already know that I won the game. It's just like there's no question. So I'm thinking it's a little bit rude for me to just go for 14th generation because the game is obviously over. But what's gonna end up happening is my opponent is gonna leave the game, so I just end up playing against an AI. So in that case, I'm like, well, now I'm not being rude. Now I can just
that's
go for 14th generation and just have some fun.
Oh,
so that's pretty
fair.
much what happened in this game. So if my opponent didn't leave, I wouldn't actually have had a game with this big score.
Oh,
At least this one wouldn't have. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, there's that consideration sometimes for sure.
Yeah, the World Junior Hockey Championship is on now, and yeah, they just let the scores run up in those because.
Oh my God, you are so Canadian.
Yeah, the tiebreaker is I hate when that happens, but that's all right. So, and if people haven't seen our other video, I'll link to that now and at the end of the video. The other one is an example of the rush play. This is an example of the engine building. But you also on your channel, Boneless Dota, have all kinds of videos on this now. You've sort of surged with your strategy guides. So, what do you cover in those?
Everything. I'm bad at doing something halfway. So for this project, I just went all in. I have I don't know, maybe 10 or 20 hours of content just for a strategy guide. It's like way too much, but I just wanted to cover everything. So we have a few games like this one where I just went for the different strategies. There's gonna be some of the same replays we're covering here, and also some city and some like a Jovian Saturn system, and also it's just gonna be a strategy guide with first of all it's gonna be a lot of tips to help win. So I have 2 of those videos, and then that's gonna cover all the strategies, and there's gonna be some stuff about the best synergies in the game and timings, and it's gonna be a lot of different things, for sure.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, so yeah, you're getting all kinds of greenery here.
Yeah. Oh, and this one is actually kind of funny. So this greenery looks really bad, but nobody has a city, or rather, I don't have a city on the map yet, so I can't place my greenery next to it. But yeah, this is the reason. I wanted to play nitrogen-rich asteroids, so I needed to put down this plantation in order to play this card. Mm-hmm. So for sure, this is the correct choice, even though it looks a little bit ugly to just place a greenery that is not next to my city.
So tell me about when you would want to use megacredit versus when you want to decrease the cost with your titanium or your other resources. How do you decide what the balance is there?
I think it's pretty straightforward. If you have titanium and steel, you want to use it. It could be some cases where you also have like advanced alloys in your hand. In this case, you have to be a little bit careful because then your steel or titanium could increase in value. There's also a few other cards with consideration where you might actually need the steel or titanium, but mostly you just want to use it when you can, because these resources can only be used for building or space tags.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And what's going through your mind here? So you're in a good position. Would you say we're into mid game?
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the other game, we just had like a game was over on Generation 8, right?
That's right. It moves so quickly. These two-player
yeah,
games are so fast.
yeah. Well, yeah. Depending on how you look at it, I would say that 5-player games are so fast in terms of generations,
Right.
because in a 2-player game, it's gonna be longer in terms of generations. So this is why I tend to favor this greedy card strategy in 2-player games, which this is definitely it. I'm keeping all the cards I can get. I even wanted to get even more card draw. I'm not getting enough for my liking. And also, I built like the biggest engine ever, so it's this is the defining factor of the card strategy.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, now I'm finally getting a city on the map. I even picked up like a standard project, and the reason is I have a lot of cards in my hand, but none of them are like perfect for this situation right now. I feel like I had the enough money to actually buy this city.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also kind of nice because then I could place a greenery next to it, and it's a pretty good placement for a city and a very good placement for the greenery next to it, so I can get like a lot of water adjacency in one steal. So it makes a lot of sense to just pick this up now, and now I'm definitely it's kind of weird that nobody's actually claimed the last milestones yet, but I'm just keeping track of how far my opponent is in that regard.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So milestones definitely the next thing I want to be doing. Maybe the first award.
Just locking those in.
Yeah. And now we hit the mid game. So for sure, now I'm really beginning to think I'm making the transition from just building a lot of engine. Now I want VP. So first I'm getting decomposers, and then I picked up in my hand. You could see a lot of green tags. So this is the next point of the menu. I just want to play all of these green tags. This is what I want to do now.
How do you make that decision of when to go from building your engine to now converting on it?
Generally speaking, in the early game you build engine, in the late game you build a VP. In this case, it's also more like I don't have that much engine left. I have 6 titanium, so that could go either Soletta or it could be the immigration shuttles. So and other than that, I don't really have any engine left. So I think it's a good point. It's a good part of the game to just really try to go for some VP.
Yeah, okay. And part of your final score must depend on when you actually make that pivot.
Transition, right? Yeah, for sure.
Because if you transition too late, then you got this great engine that didn't actually do anything for you. And if you transition too early, then you lose out on the maximum sort of income levels to generate VP.
Yeah, and that's exactly the mistake that a lot of new players are making. They just keep making engine for the entire game.
Right, yeah. Guilty.
Right now, Advanced Allies, I just picked this up, so this is perfect. So this is why I waited until spending some of my titanium, because I could see that I could draw a few cards with, I don't know how, Earth tags or something, or my actions.
Right, okay.
and right here it's perfect, because I haven't spent my 6 titanium yet, so Advanced Allies, and then I can play one of my expensive titanium cards. That's perfect.
Oh, nice. So I hate to do this to you, but I'm more of a wingspan player myself, and I think for me it never felt really overwhelming, even though there's tons and tons of birds in that. Whereas with Terraforming Mars, I sometimes feel like this game is just, there's so much going on. But of the two, which game do you prefer and why?
Oh, that's a really hard question. I think both of them are really great, excellent games, and both of them are engine building. The difference is that in Terraforming Mars, you can have a little more fun with your engine. You can build a nice engine and wingspan, but then the game is just immediately over.
Right.
So slight favorite to Terraforming Mars, but you know me, I've played a lot of games in both, so obviously I love both games. So
it's good. Yeah, this one just seems like I wouldn't pull Terraforming Mars out at a family gathering, but I would pull Wingspan out because I think it's just, it might be just the theme, but
well, also the complexity. When everything is said and done, Wingspan is a lot easier to teach. It's more like a gateway game. Terraforming Mars, it's a lot of rules, and also the biggest thing is, like, for new players, this takes like 3 or 4 hours maybe to play a game, especially if you have to explain the rules first. So
yeah. And the strategy is a lot more complex in this because there's a lot more sort of interlinking approaches that you can. There's more options, I would say. Whereas with Wingspan, it's a little bit more linear.
Yeah, I would say that for sure. In Wingspan, I could like central. Cool. In Wingspan, I could like lose a game to anyone if they maybe not his first game, but if he or she like had maybe a few games and they were just very lucky and I was very unlucky in Wingspan, there's like little you can do.
Right. Yes.
But in Terraforming Mars, it's basically impossible to lose to someone who is new to the game if you're very experienced at the game, because there's so many different paths to victories, and like you said, the complexity is so high.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes some of those family-friendly or gateway games so popular, is that it's not a predetermined winner based on skill or experience.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Some people, like one of my friends, he doesn't like luck in board games, and I try to explain him, well, then you should play chess or something. It's
Right.
luck is part of the game, and it's what makes it fun in a lot of cases. So
Right, you have to overcome the impediments that are placed in front of you.
yeah.
Yeah.
But to get back to the game here, I believe I end up making a lot of points on green tech synergy. So this is definitely what I've been starting to build up right now.
Yeah.
I think decomposers, and a little bit later I also get the ecological zone, and maybe also wild enhancers. I haven't really been paying attention, but some of these cards are actually, you shouldn't underestimate how many points these cards can actually give you. It's you'll see in the end of this game, it is quite insane how many points you can get in these cards.
So you probably don't remember the exact numbers, but where do you think the majority of your points are coming from in this game then? Just on the greenery?
Cards for sure. I mean, if you also, like, I think it's gonna be like maybe 54 points on top of cards, just from green tags and other things I put on top of my cards, and then the card itself is gonna be another 100 points. So
Right.
I think
Okay.
maybe 170 points is just from cards.
Oh my
So,
gosh. Okay.
So that's for sure where the majority of, no, actually, I think I said this wrong, because I think the way they calculate it is they I think it's only gonna be 110 points on cards, actually, because I think the 54 points that I'm talking about, those are part of the card. Like here you can see I have 15 victory points on cards. I think this, things on top of my cards also included. So I think I said it wrong. I exaggerated a little bit. I think I just have 110 points on cards when everything is hidden up.
Well, they'll have to watch through to the end to find out.
Yeah, we'll see for sure.
This is still right. So this is the AI hard has jumped in now for the for Mrs. Finch.
I don't blame her. I think at this point it's
yeah, that's not surprising.
It's a losing game. But like I said, if the person had actually stayed, I probably just would end it like maybe in 11 or 12.
Okay.
But because the person left and it's only in hard AI, now I'm definitely just gonna
just put the boots to them.
Yeah, I'm a little bit greedy right now. I'm like, all right, this game is actually insane. I could get one of the really big scores. So why not try for that?
That's some of the point of playing is really just to really maximize. And
yeah.
So what does Robinson Industries do? What strategy is that corporation for the hard AI? Do you remember that one?
I believe Robinson Industries, that's the one where you can pay 4 megacredits to actually increase your lowest income.
Okay.
So it's a pretty... I never get excited when I see this corporation, but it can be okay. But it's kind of awkward because it requires you to have a little bit of everything. Yeah. Olympus Conference, this is a card I definitely would have wanted a lot earlier. And now you will see, this is why it makes a lot of sense for me to keep some cards in my hand, like I had this cheap science card in my hand. What's it called? Yeah, but one of the cheap science tags that does nothing for me except give me VP. Usually I want to play those later because it just increases in value. Now it's also worth like half a card because I just picked up Olympus Conference.
Right.
So this goes back to the stuff we talked about earlier, like card sequencing is really important, for sure.
Huh.
So now the next bonus that I'm looking at is the bonus to get on the oxygen scale.
Okay, right.
So this is why I'm not using my plants yet. And here is a really interesting choice, because I just picked up herbivores, and I think this... Yeah, I think in the start of the next generation, I think I'm gonna end up actually making a few greeneries without playing herbivores. So normally you wouldn't do this, but that's a reason for this. But that's for next generation. In this generation, I'm just looking at this bonus, and I'm just trying to still get my green tech synergy up and running, play my cards. So right now I'm drawing one more card to see what I get. And I think right now I have 8 plants, and I believe, I'm not sure, but maybe I have protected habitat at this point. So I might even be considering to just not build a greenery right now, because I want to I want to actually get the bonus in the next generation if I can.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think this is also the game where I have a lot of like microbe synergy, but unfortunately, because I was a little bit stressed for time, or maybe I just made a mistake. I put a lot of these free microbes. I put it on decomposes, but I also played ants, and ants is actually better because ants gives a point per 2 microbes, and decomposes gives a point per 3 microbes. I think I'm cheating myself a little bit out of some points by actually putting it on decomposes rather than ants, so not good.
I've got one question about oceans for you.
Yeah.
Where do you tend to place them? Do you place them like to block people, or what's the guiding strategy on placing oceans?
There's a little bit of consideration. You can't really block anyone, but you can like make sure they don't get so many good adjacency bonus tiles. Like if you place oceans close to their cities, maybe you'll give them a nice place to play their greeneries. But mostly oceans comes down to what do you need yourself? Do we need usually you want to play it next to other oceans, but especially in the early game, there's like on this map there's like a juicy place where you can get 2 cards, so you can get 2 titanium, or the 1 card is also good, especially if these long games, the cards and the titanium and stuff like this is really good. If I'm going all in for the terraforming strategy, I might place it in the river in the middle because there's a lot more plants available there. Yeah, something like this is what I would consider, but I would always favor this place where you can get 2 cards. I think this is really good.
Okay, so what are you looking at here with the Ganymede colony?
Yeah, normally I would play this in the last generation, but this is simply because there must be a reason I'm playing it now. Is it just because of satellites? I think it is. I think it's because I have so much titanium, so I could just get 1 more mega credit production because of satellites, which is funny. Yeah, okay. That's what I'm doing. So it doesn't happen very often. Normally you would play this in the last generation, but in this particular case, because I have so much titanium and because I have satellites, it's okay to play it now. Maybe there's a few other effects I haven't been keeping track, so right. Maybe it can benefit me a little bit in another way. But it's questionable to play this right now for sure.
Okay, well, if people see any other questions or things that you think you've done wrong or things you've done well, if they want to add their thoughts in the comments, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. I would really welcome that. I know that I did a few mistakes that I'm aware of, but I probably also did a few mistakes I'm not aware of. So if you see anything, feel free to write it, and I'll make sure to visit your channel once in a while and answer those questions. So yeah, for sure.
That's great. Now, are you purposely trying to slow the game here with the oxygen levels, or because I mean oceans are getting close, temperatures getting close? Do you want to lengthen this out as much as you can here?
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm still gonna be greedy and go for this bonus. But right here I'm getting colonizer training camp, and I'm getting some more plant production. Once again, I'm just keeping it all because I want some cards to cycle with my Mars University. It's so funny when it happens, right? You just keep everything because you're having a god game and you just want to cycle.
Just buying everything you can get your hands on, 15 cards.
For sure, but right now it's very tempting for me to play exactly adaptive technology, because with this I can actually play this colonizer training camp, because otherwise the requirement has been maxed. Wow. Normally you can only play this if there's like 5 oxygen, but because of this card I just played, adaptive technology, now I can actually play it. And still, it's a little bit greedy to do this rather than just taking the bonus. So that's a lot of things here. So right now,
you've just got so many choices open to you with so many cards with such an incredible income. Look at that, 46.
Yeah, right now I'm just remembering herbivores. In my mind, herbivores is 8 oxygen, but I just played this card, adaptive technology. So this means that I kind of placed one greenery now without having placed herbivores, and now I kind of have to go for the other one because I'm not going to leave the bonus one step away from him.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
But it actually ends up being okay because, for example, I also have wild enhancers, I have ecological zone, so it's not that bad actually. And also, what ends up happening, what you asked me for, if I'm gonna intentionally prolong the game, that's what I'm gonna do now. Right here is where I'm deciding, okay, I'm actually gonna wait a long time before I play herbivores because what I'm gonna do, I have protected habitats, so I'm just gonna actually just stack up on plants and just not terraform the oxygen. So if he wants to close the game, he would have to do all the hard work. I'm not going to help him. So this is one of the things you can really do to actually just prolong the game artificially.
Yeah. Just they can just watch themselves lose slowly.
Yeah, and normally you lose a little bit of efficiency because you lose a little bit of like money income because you don't get the TR like sooner. But in this case, my engine is huge, so I don't care about that at all. I just care about the game dragging out so I can go to 14 generations. That's probably what I'm hoping for right now.
And would you tend to want, say, 2 of the 3 variables to be closed so that you can close the game when you want? Or do you want to actually hold back on all 3 of the end game conditions?
I think it's around the mid game you can always spot the last parameter to close. It could be kind of close between 2, but in this case it's definitely going to be oxygen. Or maybe even water, but I mean, it's definitely going to be oxygen. That's the hardest one to close. So with this in mind, I don't really care about water or heat. I might even terraform that myself. I don't mind that. But right now, I just want to hold back my plants, so I'm not gonna terraform the oxygen too much.
Yeah.
That's the other 2 parameters I don't care about that much. Yeah.
And there's no limit on how many cards you can have in hand in this game, is there?
No, not at all.
No. So what's your record?
I think if you go for this greedy card strategy and just play the long games and usually only 2-player games, I think it's, I don't know, usually if you have around 20 cards, you're greedy enough, but I've had a few games where just has so much card draw, it's like even been 30 cards in my hand or something.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, it can go quite crazy. So right here I picked up, this is just a nice place for a city. So I don't think the mega credit production from Immigrant City is such a big deal at this point, but right now I just wanted to place it because it's a very nice place for a city.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And it could come into play a little bit. I could get some from this card because, I know that I'm having the God game, so sooner or later that's probably me is gonna build a lot of cities on the map as well.
Right, yeah.
So I just picked up the other big green tag amplifier, which is Ecological Zone, which allows me every time I play a plant tag, I can get like half a point, I believe. I can get an animal worth half a point. So this is one of the other really big ones. I also got Val Enhancers and Decomposers. So the green tag synergy is definitely up and running. So now you'll see all the plant tags that I have played some, right? Because you can't go all in on this. You also have to play the cards when it makes sense to you.
Right.
But for sure, I've been keeping some of these cards just so I know that, all right, I'm going to play Ecological Zone, and then I can play all of these plant tag cards in my hand. Yeah.
There's so much planning involved in this, and there's just so many options.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is also the game where I get the most amount of VP on this Predator. It's gonna be, I don't know, I can't remember, 11 or something. It's gonna be a lot of points on Predator. But that's because it's very good in this game, especially for the long greedy games, to have one animal where the animals are worth 1 victory point per animal. Because there's a lot of other cards in this game that can actually give animal to another card, so like Large Convoy or Imported Nitrogen that I have here.
I see your opponent has the Pets card, which in our strategy guide you mentioned as one that you like.
Yeah, for sure, Pets, especially if you or someone else is going for City. Pets is, of course, very, very good. But that one is pretty tied to the City strategy, right? It's
right. Yeah.
Normally it's cheap enough that you would like play it in most games anyway, especially if you can also benefit from the Earth tag. But usually it's even better if someone is going for cities, obviously, because then it can give you like a lot of points. I've seen games where it gave you like 10 points or something in Pets, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, especially in those smaller scoring games, right? Relative to the total score, it can be a lot. You're just buying everything.
Yeah, I'm actually. Is this? I think I have 11 cards in my hand, and I think I only bought 3 this time. So I think I'm finally to the point where I'm not. I have so many bad cards in my hand already that it's okay. So I at this point I only buy 3.
Yeah. I
And
feel
you know that I'm a greedy person when I pick up Toll Station and Robotic Workforce. These cards are still, we're generation 12, and I'm still thinking about engine just because it's so efficient for me to do right now.
I'm kind of feeling bad for this AI or Robertson Industries. His income, everything, it just pales in comparison to yours.
Yeah, but the funny thing is he's still gonna take minor from me because if you've noticed, I haven't actually started any awards. That's also me. I was aware of it. I didn't forget it. It was completely intentional. I just automatically assumed that I would win every single award in this game because I'm having such an insane game. So it was purely greed. But as it turns out, he's actually gonna overtake me in minor, which I did not see coming. So I was very salty about that one. I remember.
Well, if artificial intelligence had emotions when he joined this game in the position he was in, he was probably just devastated.
Yeah. It was not pretty, but a good thing he did because otherwise I wouldn't have dragged it out like this.
Yeah.
Because what you're seeing right now, this is like only the cropped down version of this game, which is still like 1 hour, and as you can see, like all the actions is going really quickly.
Yes, it is.
So
how long was the original?
I think maybe 2 hours or something. I think
wow.
I had 1 hour and my opponent had 1 hour, so maybe almost 2 hours or something. So this is what happens when you go complete god mode. Like normally I queue for 30-minute games or 45-minute games, depending on how many players are in the game.
Yep.
But sometimes when you just want to go greedy and join a 2-player game and just then 1 hour is sometimes actually necessary because even with I skip all the animation and stuff like this. You can do that in the options, but even this is not enough. It's still gonna be hard to actually finish a game in 45 minutes sometimes.
Yep. Oh yeah, this is lightning quick though, I mean.
Yeah, it is. It's if you want, you can check out the game on my channel. I also do this, and I feel a little guilty because on my channel I was a little bit better at actually explaining all the strategy and the available plays going on. But
right, yeah.
Right now, when I'm talking to you, we're just having a good time. I can't keep up with all of this. That's what I'm trying to say.
No kidding. Yeah, I'm completely distracting you. My apologies, but that's fun.
No, I think it's impossible. Even the one on my channel, it's impossible to actually talk about all the stuff going on because it's just going so fast paced. Yeah,
it really is. Okay, so card resources. What are we up to here? You just slapped a penalty on him. Yeah, what was that? Something with the animals there?
Yeah, I probably used my predator, right?
Oh yes, okay.
I think I steal his fish. Yeah. I think he has both fish and I don't know, some other cards, but I think I steal fish because it makes sense in my head that the predator actually eats fish.
Yeah, okay.
It's a little brutal if he's like eating. I don't know, what are the other ones? Like for example, if you have a game in real life, you also have this card from the Venus expansion called Venusian Animals, and it's very. I have a hard time figuring out how it's possible for the predator to actually put on his base suit, go to Venus, eat a Venusian animal, go back to Mars, be a bear. But eating a fish, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, thematically, it's neat. I find the game grows on you, where there's all these different elements. Like at first, it just feels like you're playing a board game and there's a million cards. But when you start to see the synergies of the different themes in the game, it's starting to grow on me.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very well put together game for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a reason it's top 10 on Board Game Geek for who knows how many years. Well, probably since 2016.
Still going strong. Yeah, it's amazing actually.
Yeah,
but I don't think it can probably not keep its position up there. I think there's a lot of sooner or later it's gonna be a little bit dated, but it's very nice that it's still going this strong. There's still so many players playing it.
That's
so
right.
It's already a classic.
Have you played Brass Birmingham?
No, not yet. One of my friends wanted me to play it, but I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy that one. It's another one in the vein of Wingspan.
Yeah, I heard it's also engine building.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe not quite as in depth as this one, but still pretty solid.
Yeah, I just played Dune Imperium. That's another one of the new games. Well, it's like a year old by now, I think. But I just played it. I just played it for the first time, and I was very hyped. It's a fun game.
Nice. Oh, that's cool. And Terraforming Mars would be in your top 3 games of all time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it can right now. I'm maybe a little more interested in playing Doom Imperium, but like when everything is said and done, like of course it's. I've played so many hours in Terraforming Mars, so it must be my favorite game of all time, I think.
That's
sure.
awesome.
But,
very cool. Okay, we better get back to the game now. So
yeah, I was about to say. So I have still like robotic workforce. It's a really good combo to use this with the medical lab that I already played earlier, because I can copy a building space, a little building like square on one of the cards. So medical lab is the card to actually combo this card with when you're only playing vanilla, because you don't have access to Geropolis, which is another good one. And I think it still makes sense just because I'm gonna get so much out of it, and it also has a science tag, so I have so much science synergy from like Olympus Conference and Mars University that it still makes a lot of sense for me to play this card. And then Tull Station also picked up this. It's like at this point I'm kind of feeling okay, maybe it's gonna be over in generation 13. So I'm playing 6 for Tull Station, but it's probably still gonna give me more than 6. So in this regard, it could still be worth it. But it's very greedy to keep going for engine. But like you can see, they're so cheap, and they give me other things like the science tag on robotic workforce. So it still makes sense to me.
that's right. How many actions is your opponent getting here compared to how many you're getting, would you say?
I don't have the numbers, but for sure I have all the advantage, because I have, like, you can see my action on my cards. It was like an entire screen, so I have maybe 20 different actions I can actually do. So no matter what's happening, he's gonna pass the generation before me. So this means that it's entirely within my hands how I'm gonna actually end this generation, because I'm not even slow playing at this point. This is just how far ahead I am. I have so many actions. So.
It's sort of what you dream of when you first learn this game, is just having every choice in the universe.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, I'm going for the card strategy, so normally you wouldn't also, well, you could, but normally you wouldn't also like fill up the map with like cities and greeneries, but when you're having, like, I'm just doing everything because I can.
Yeah,
and
you need
to be honest, to generate a big score like this, well, I haven't hit the 300 on the app, but I've hit 300 in real life, and on the app, I don't know. I've had a couple of games, maybe 3 games, and 260 plus. And every time you get a big score like this, you just have to go for everything, because you really have to milk the game for all the points. So a big component of this is screen tech synergy. That's like a big thing, and obviously you can only do this if your engine in the early game is amazing, if you have a ton of card draw. So.
Oh wow! How do your friends not rage quit on you when you get over 300?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. It doesn't happen that often. Normally when I play with my friends, we are like 4, you know. So normally these 2-player games. I had one friend during lockdown. I played a lot of 2-player games with him, and we had just had a lot of fun. We played like, I don't know, 20 or 30 just when the Corona started. So he always came to my place, and we played a lot of 2-man Terraforming Mars.
Oh, nice.
But that's pretty much the only time I actually played a lot of 2-player games in real life. Normally 2-player games is something I do on the Mars app, I think. In real life, it's more common that when we meet up, we are like 4 or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you must have a good friend group then.
Yeah, for sure. A few. So normally, when it's a 4-player game, you're of course not going to get big scores like this, like we talked about, because then there's going to be fewer generations. There's going to be more people actually sharing the Terraform rating. There's going to be so scores like this is impossible in 4-player games.
Right? Yeah, of course. Yeah, that was what surprised me most actually about our chat in the strategy guide. Was just about every question you seem to come back to the player count is absolutely vital for almost every decision in the game. So that was surprising.
I might exaggerate a little bit. Like, you can still play the card strategy in a 5-player game if like you had the perfect setup for it. Like, so it's not like, don't take it like you can only play like this. No, you mostly play your cards, but you really have to have this in the back of your head. Like, some strategies are really suited for for shorter or fewer player numbers, and some strategies are really suited for larger player numbers. For instance, the terraforming strategy, where you just go all in terraforming, you could do like a middle road kind of thing in 2-player games, but in like if you're gonna all in on terraforming and you're doing nothing else, then you should not play 2-player, because it simply doesn't work. You can't close the game that fast, so the other guy's gonna have enough time either way with his greedy engine, and it's not gonna take so long for him to actually beat you.
Yeah.
So player number is definitely very important.
Now, why did you play your city right beside the other city there? Was that the best place you could find, or?
Are you talking about on the bottom of the screen?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I don't think that's a city I played it next to. That would have been illegal unless I had some. I think it's a special tile, but in your defense, it's really hard to see on this app. It's one of the few critiques I have with it. But I think this just made a lot of sense. I think my point right now is I want to. First of all, I want to see if he actually closes the game here at 13. If he does not, then I'm gonna make it go to 14. That's the number one priority. And secondly, if it goes to 14, then I definitely want all of the good city spots. The city spots is like you can see, I don't have that many cards anymore.
Right. Okay.
So if I do get another generation, I really want to spend all of my plans and all of my mega credits on actually cities all over the map, because this is where I can get points right now. And this land claim up here, it's actually kind of cool, because normally you play a land claim to actually annoy the other guy, but this land claim makes it like not 100%, but almost 100% sure that this city, I will get this city. Like there's no questions asked, because normally if you play a land claim, the other guy can just put something right next to your land claim, but in this case it would be illegal because the way I place my cities. So this land claim is actually kind of clever, I think. And like you probably saw, I finally played my what's it called, the Bambi, the herbivores.
Yes, the herbivores, yes.
And so this is like look how many I even spent some plans, but I have still 62 plans left. So now I'm like, yeah, I just want cities. I just want to finally spend all of my plans, and as soon as he passes, I'm just gonna terraform everything until there's like one step left, because then I get the maximum out of the last available TR as well. So yeah, it's kind of a dick move, to be honest. But once again, the guy left, so it's only hard AI, so I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah, exactly. Just put it to him.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm still just like using my actions. Once again, it's not even slow playing, because I just have to go through all of my actions. I'm not even like taking only one action on my turn and then passing.
Right.
It would be totally viable if I did, but in this case I have so many actions I don't even have to do that. I'm just going through the motions, waiting for him to pass, and then as soon as he passes, I'm gonna like terraform everything except for one step. And finally spent my 63 plans. Holy hell.
Seems like ants are doing all right for you there.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good card just because so it's not often you actually get to steal from another, especially in a 2-player game. It's a little bit unlikely that he has something to steal.
Yeah.
But just the fact that it's a microbe card that can, where microbes are worth 1 victory point per 2 microbe, I believe in vanilla. And this is vanilla and Prelude. I believe in this meta there's like no Venusian insects or another card that can actually do this, so it's only ants where the insects are actually worth this much. So this is why it's a good card, especially when I have so many cards that actually
this is comical. It just takes forever to get through all of your actions.
Yeah, it really does. And this is like, if you look at the first, like you barely had time to actually introduce and like start this cast before we actually had generation 3 or something. And now it's the last generation, maybe the next one as well. Is so many actions. So this is why it ends up taking 1 hour, even though we cropped it down and like rushed through it and stuff like this.
Yeah, it's fun to see though. It's actually a joy to watch it.
Yeah, it's for sure. It's so now the water has been closed. I believe I actually helped.
That's right.
I can see that he's been closing. I think he's passed. Maybe that's what I'm looking at. But if he's not passed yet, then I believe I got a little bit in on the water at the end. because it's gonna be oxygen. That's the last one to close the game. And finally, I'm about to spend my plans. I think this is he just placed the city like in the middle of my two cities. He had a card that could do that. What's it called? Immigrant something? I don't know. No.
Yeah.
Actually, it was lava tube settlement, so it has to be placed on a volcano. That's what happened. Okay. Yeah, but by him doing that, it's of course very annoying for me. But then I had this other card, commercial district, and now I can place this next to the 3 cities, and also I'll get 1 more city on my land claim. So it ends up being okay because now my commercial district is gonna be great.
This is fun. Yeah, you've just got so many plants there.
Yeah, it's and I still haven't played insect yet. It's a lot. Maybe it's the most plants I've ever had in a game. It's very insane.
I'd say, yeah, that's awesome.
Also, I have this card that gives me like 1 plant per city. So yeah, this is gonna get crazy, man. So maybe he passed now. Yeah, I checked the log and okay, he finally passed. So now here we go. Let's go. Yeah. Now we're finally gonna. I'm only gonna get 2 plants now because once again I want to close at 14. So I'm not gonna spend my 47 plants until the next generation.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know why I get energy production. There must be a reason. I wonder. But for sure it's insects I should be looking at right now. And also this one, normally you play this in the last generation, but right now I already have all of the green text energy. Look at this green text energy I get from this card. And also it's because it's 1 more plant tag for the insects, and I didn't have any impactful beta cards to play. So right now I think I'm at the point to just sell 3 cards. So probably, yeah, I have 3 bad cards. I imagine I would sell Underground Detonation, Great Escapement Consortium, and 1 more, so I can just play insects. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, and then Biomass Combustors. It gives me minus victory points, so it makes no sense to play at this point. Yep, that is a lot of plans. For sure.
In the awards, there's only 1 award so far.
Yeah, this is actually the computer started this one. This is like the minor, so I'm really salty that he got that one because I thought I would just automatically get all 3.
Gotta let him have a bone, at least 1 minor success.
Yeah, and the thing that really hurts is that I just did it because I'm greedy. But what's gonna end up happening is that I'm gonna have a lot of megacredit left over when this game is done. So the fact that I didn't just take 3 milestones is like, it hurts so much because it's not even all right. I didn't get the award, but then I saved some money. No, it didn't matter because I'm gonna end up having so much gold left over.
Oh, it's insane! You were just at 139 megacredits.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And right now it's. What I really should be doing is just fill up the map as soon as I can. Like, get the last, maybe 1 more city there for 1 zoo. But yeah, just get the greeneries as soon as. Yeah, I'm getting 1 more city. It makes sense. This one I'm not. Why would I place on top of my land claim? That one is secured, so that was a mistake, I think. There's a little bit of things I should do before and after. Like, right now I'm getting the awards, but I think. Basically, I just don't want to repeat the mistakes from earlier by not taking the award. But really, what I should be doing is fill up the map. But it doesn't matter that much at this point because he will he will get like a few, maybe 1 city and a few greeneries, and there's little I can do to stop him. He will do that, so it doesn't matter that much. But just from a technical point of view, I should really be filling up the map.
You have 14 actions down there available.
Yeah, and that's once again, like in the other generations, I started with my action because I wanted to see what my opponent is doing. Is he gonna close the game? But in this last generation, because I'm literally running out of ways I can get VP. So this is why it's impeccable. It's really important that I just get as many greeneries down on the map as soon as possible, because if he actually gets greeneries down, Like, and I still have greeneries left in my head. It would be annoying. It would
That
just
would be annoying.
points
Yeah.
out the window, so I just have to fill up the map as soon as possible. Because I'm still gonna have leftover mega credits when the game is done. So I think I misplayed a little bit at the start of this generation. I did a lot of stuff that I didn't really have to do. Technically, what I should have done is just fill up the map. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Do you think you would have scored that many more points doing that though?
No, it's not the biggest deal. I think when everything is said and done, he's probably just gonna get like a few greeneries, a few cities, and maybe he's gonna run out of gold way before this comes into play. But technically, I should have filled up the map sooner rather than later. So I might have been missing like a little bit, but it's hard to say. I would have to check his profile or his game to actually see how much mega credits he has, how many cities he can make.
Right. Yep.
But it ends up being like I have eight plants left, and there's spot for one more greenery. So it ends up like all of the plants I've been saving up, and it just works out completely. It's a little bit funny. Yeah,
it's really fun to watch. Actually, just seeing so many go down.
Yeah. So hopefully I start putting this on ends. Yeah, nice. That's probably the biggest mistake I did. Is I put on decomposer so long time instead of ends.
Right. Yeah.
And the other big mistake was not starting all of the awards. That's like 5 points out the window right there.
Huh.
Other than that, I'm pretty happy with how I played. It's only minor things I did wrong, I think.
Really is. It's really hard to improve on this.
Yeah, but it's once again, I'm the bad kind of a perfectionist. So when I make small misplays like this, it really annoys me. If you know what I mean. Yeah.
That's right. We'll just gloss over it. Let's just focus on the good.
So right now it's pretty straightforward. I filled up the map. I started the last award, so there's no rush anymore. Now it's just use all of my actions, and hopefully the cards I have in my hand will draw some even more impactful cards, because I still have 79 mega credits. So
yeah, you're just trying to find ways to blow your millionaire status here.
yeah. So how many? I think. Yeah, I have 14 Predators. That's probably also the biggest amount I've ever had on Predators. That's a lot.
That's awesome. Are there a lot of interactions? Do you find direct interactions between players in these engine building games, or does it tend to be more people playing their own boards?
I think people are like... some people think that there's a lot of... Some people think this is a solitaire game, where it's only like you just play your thing.
Multiplayer solo, yeah.
Yeah, and to a point, they're correct, because you cannot hit your opponents that much. But that's also one of the things I like about this game. You cannot just like destroy a player if he's ahead.
Right. Yeah.
So I think the amount of player interaction is actually pretty good in this game. I think I like it a lot the way it is. But there's actually a lot of things you can do. Like, for example, the biggest thing that separates a mediocre player from a new player is probably just figuring out who got the bigger engine, and is it in my best interest to actually drag out the game, or is it in my best interest to close the game?
That's good advice.
Because yeah, that's the biggest way you can hurt the greedy opponent, is just to close the game, basically.
Just finish it up. Yep.
Yeah, other than that, you can burn a little bit of his plans, and you can take away, like, there's some really damaging cards. If you like take away one titanium production or play hackers in the first generation, that could actually mess up a player so much. But other than that, it's not that much. It's not that impactful what you can do. So I think it's I like the game the way it is. I think it's a very good balance. And of course, like, contesting milestones, like, it's also a big thing. Contesting bonuses, like if you're playing against bad opponents, like, one of the reasons this was also a very, very good game for me is, of course, that I don't know how good the play. I'm imagining the player wasn't like that good, the one I played against, but it's really hard to say because I have a god game, so maybe maybe the guy could just gave up or something. You can't really judge like this, but when I'm playing against an AI, he's probably not gonna make optimal plays. So
that's right. Yeah, you seem to be just crushing him on every count. Except that one.
Except that minor thing.
That one award. It's all right.
So yeah, I'm gonna pass the game with 33 megacredits, and it doesn't happen very often. But we're not playing with Venus, so I cannot even just buy 2 Venus or something. It's very
rare
weird.
It's rare that you run out of options to dominate.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay, so tell me about the end game scoring here.
Well, let's see how much I get on points. I think maybe 110 or something. And 50 of those is like on top of cards. So that's the green tech synergy is how I'm getting like the most points. Yeah, 150 victory points on cards. And that's basically because like at least half of that is green tech synergy and stuff I just put on top of my cards. So that's a big one. And then because I'm having a god game, then obviously cities and greeneries is also really good. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. Terraforming rating was pretty solid. I mean, I think in our last game, your entire score was 29 or 79. And
yeah, exactly. It's very hard to compare, right? This is what I mean. That it's a entirely different meta if you play 2-player, and especially if it goes late like this. It's a greedy 14 generation game, or if it's a 9 generation game, it's like totally different. So this is why it's so hard to actually compare scores in Terraforming Mars. You have to take into account number of players. You have to take into account so many different things. How many expansions are you playing with? It's easier to get high scores if you also have colonies and some of the other expansions. So there's so many things you have to take into account. So this is why in Wingspan it's always like, all right, this score is good because the meta is always the same. It's always this amount of turns. It's always, well, it can vary a little bit if you're like against 1 or 2 or 3 opponents on Wingspan, but basically you always have the option of creating the same level of score. In Terraforming Mars it's entirely different because it just comes down to how many players, how many generations do we have, so many things. Yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure watching you dominate. I really appreciate you sharing your strategies and all your thoughts with us. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Remember, get out there, get gaming, be legendary.